The presidential election may be over, but the race to control the Senate is just getting heated up. Joining me now are Sinclair political commentator Ameshia and host of America First on Salem Radio and Sinclair media contributor Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Thank you guys for joining us. Big election coming up. Sebastian, let me start with you. I mean, the Republicans need one of two to retain the Senate. They're going to get one of two of two, or go for an O for this time.
It's impossible to tell. Anybody who can predict the race for you in Georgia is a liar and probably has a bridge to sell you in Connecticut as well. I'm just curious with what Beijing Biden did yesterday, how he praised Stacey Abrams, said we need 10 more like her. I missed her concession speech. Doesn't she still think she's the governor? So I guess the president doesn't have to concede either by that logic. So it's all to play for. There's lots of dodgy things going on in Georgia. All Republicans have to get out and vote.
Ameshia, do you think Democrats get one of those two seats? I mean, Ossoff. I think Purdue is leading Ossoff. We hear about internal polls, but also the betting lines. The betting lines have a 75% chance of Purdue winning that one. Kelly Loeffler, about a 50-50 shot on that. What are your thoughts on how this is going to go?
No. From the information you have and ones I have from folks on the ground there as well, I do think that at this point, and again, anything can happen between now and the end of this race, I do think that Warnock definitely stands a more likely chance against Loeffler than we see in the Purdue-Ossoff race. But I would be mindful of the fact that just yesterday, the first day of early voting for this Georgia Senate runoff race, you had nearly 50% African-American turnout. That is a huge deal. We know that the Georgia NAACP, we know that organizations like Fair Fight, Stacey Abrams' organization, and organizations across the country have worked very hard to get similar turnout to what we saw in the presidential election to come back during this Senate runoff election. A lot of money has been spent on the ground. A lot of people are knocking on doors. We'll see how this turns out. But I think that one of the most aggravating things I've seen is a lot of the devastating attacks on Reverend Warnock himself, particularly pointing racism towards the Black church and, just digging into his sermons. And it's quite frustrating as a Black person, as a member of a Black church, to watch this go down and see how it's playing out in this race, and how these attacks of anti-socialism, which neither of those candidates are socialists, is really, really trying to bed itself in Georgia right now.
And that's the biggest concern, I think, amongst a lot of Americans, especially conservative Americans, maybe even independent Americans, Sebastian, is that if the Democrats do get both of those seats, they'll have flipped the Senate, they'll have the House and the White House. And the concern is that AOC and her ilk and Bernie Sanders pull Joe Biden to the far left, progressive left, and socialism, the big S word. We're going to be talking a lot about socialism going forward. Your thoughts?
Well, first, let's talk about Warnock. There's nothing racist about criticizing a man for his anti-American views, including attacks on the U.S. military. He could be white. He could have purple skin. With those statements and those sermons, you have to criticize him for his anti-American radical views. It's just a cheap shot. It's lazy from Ameshia to say it's racism. It's nothing to do with his rights. It's to do with his views. But you're right, Eric. This is the last holdout against. Can you not interrupt me when I've been asked the question? Would you be so kind? Thank you. No, you're absolutely right, Eric. This is about stopping radicals like Warnock joining radicals like AOC in Congress. This is a party that your father, your grandfather wouldn't recognize as the Democrat Party of yore. It has become radicalized. This is a party that wants to give amnesty to 20 million illegal aliens, wants to give taxpayer-funded medical insurance to illegal aliens, wants to stop building the wall, and wants to get rid of the Electoral College. All of that is radical.
One more very important one, Ameshia, is he was asked at the debate stage against Kelly Loeffler whether Warnock would he vote to pack the court, the Supreme Court, going forward, meaning flip the Supreme Court from conservative to liberal, and he would not say no. And I think that could be a defining moment for Warnock in this election. Your thoughts, final thoughts, Ameshia?
It may be a defining moment for conservatives, but for the most part, the people who are getting out and voting, that's not something that they really care about. It's not an issue that is at the ticker tape for Americans. They care about the economy. They care about health care, which are things that Warnock has strong plans for, and we'll see those in action.
Yeah, but here's the problem. A lot of Americans are concerned about the Supreme Court, and a lot of conservative Americans are concerned about the Supreme Court and changing the court that's been this way for many, many decades. I'll give you the last word on this, but why wouldn't Warnock just come out and say, hey, look, I'm against that, or I'm for it? I mean, that's the biggest fear, is that all the changes happen after you get elected. Final thought, Ameshia.
Because this is conservatives trying to get Warnock to play their little game, and Warnock is smart enough to not fall into that trap. I think that right now the majority of Americans care about getting that check to sustain their lives and make sure that they can pay their housing costs, their rental costs, their electric bills going forward past this holiday season. Those are the things that matter to the American people, and those are the things that Warnock is sticking to. He's not falling into the conservative media trap.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Ameshia Cross and Dr. Sebastian Gorka, thank you for your time, both.
Thanks, Eric.